Deerstalker took a deep breath, readying himself for the meeting he never wanted to hold. What remained of the clan had already gathered. None of them expected the scene that played out only a few moments ago. As you've seen, his words were carried only by his shallow breath. Setting Star has left the clan. She fell ill with the dreaded death fever. He winced as he spoke the truth. The clans had been dealing with its illness for uncountable moons. It was like black cough, but if it wasn't caught early enough, there was nothing you could do. The cat would die. Setting Star has left the clan as to not spread the illness. She vowed to return once she loses the life that holds death fever. His voice didn't seem very confident. That means we still have a leader, and I will take her place only in responsibility. I am still your deputy. I do, however, need a cat to take my responsibility. Bugskip, he looked at the feline. Will you serve as THUNDERCLAN's temporary deputy?
Bugskip stood quickly. Yes, she yelled. THUNDERCLAN will never fall.
Deerstalker tried to let Bugskip's optimism lift his spirits, but it wasn't working this time. On a lighter note, he turned away from the pseudo-deputy. Wireflight is expecting kits. His tail swept in pride. This is the start of brighter times for THUNDERCLAN.
Wireflight perked up her ears at the mention of her name, blinking at her clanmates happily. Thinking about their kits always brought some peace to her.
Deerstalker dipped his head. Wireflight will be protected by all means necessary. Should a cat show any signs of being any less than healthy, they are to stay away from her. We can't risk any more casualties. Anyway, get some sleep now. He looked up at the stars, praying for Setting Star's quick return.
Wireflight shuffled towards Deerstalker, letting out a sigh before she spoke. I haven't got a clue as to how you hold yourself together so well during these times, the Queen murmured.
The clan needs it, he hummed, looking at her with soft eyes. Sorry I didn't ask before announcing you to the clan, he chirped nervously.
It's... okay. Thinking about our kids always helps me feel better about all this. Maybe it'll help our clanmates to feel the same.
Kits always bring joy, he agreed. He didn't want to say it out loud, but he was horrified about whether or not the kids would make it through the illness. We don't have a medicine cat, he said instead.
She frowned, nodding. She knew what he meant to say, but neither wanted to speak it aloud. I'm sure we'll manage. StarClan is watching over us. They'll take care of us.
He nodded, blinking the worry from his gaze, even if only for a moment. I'm gonna hunt us something. He gave a nuzzle to her shoulder as he stood.
Wireflight nodded yet again, leaning into his shoulder for a moment. Stay safe.
He purred but gave no other response, pulling away after a moment to find a warrior. Orcastride, he greeted with a tail flick. I wanted to fetch a cat to go hunting with.
Her eyes shifted to Deerstalker, seeing the sun outside. Better to get something done after all.
I agree, he snorted, turning and padding out of camp.
Dawn had broken, and Thundercloud remained still, listening to the quiet sounds of the river, mixed with the breaths of his remaining clanmates. His eyes panned from one cat to another, seemingly checking their breathing from afar.
The medicine cat's ear flicked quietly at the stirring. The Tom opened his eye tiredly, glancing about. Waking first again, are you?
A purr arose from his dry throat as he nodded his head. I like to make sure everyone is safe. I can't rest otherwise.
There was a small sigh from Mapleheart that he couldn't stifle. You must be safe as well, Thundercloud. You sound like you need water.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting some water before going to hunt. His eyes rested on Fawnstumble before sighing. Let them sleep some more. They hunted all day yesterday.
He rose slowly to his paws, shaking his leaf-riddled fluff. I need to organize what little herbs we have, anyway. Be safe, Thundercloud.
He had a sip of water before making his way out of the camp, before the first light of dawn. He wanted his cats to wake up and have something to eat. A purr arose from his throat as he caught the trout. His cats would eat good today. The camp was so eerily quiet as he padded towards the medicine den. He hated what this clan had become, but it was no less his duty to take care of the little cats that had remained.
Mapleheart had already busied himself with what little herbs they had left. His tail flicked in frustration at the lack of borage and thyme. Those were important, especially in these times.
She rolled onto her belly. A pout can be seen as she turns to Wallflower. Must you clean my fur? And mine's too. I was in good sleep, she pouts, exhaustion evident in her voice. Their tail flicked. It was a good timing, standing to attention with a raised brow. They knew the answer. He approached the den parent and the two kids with a trout. Here, I have caught this for you, he purred. Chromapaw's eyes lit up at the sight of the trout, one of their favorites too. Wallflower graced him with a blink. How generous, picking it up quickly to examine and pluck anything that could harm the two. Thundercloud, thank you, she smiled.
The medicine cat's ear flicked before he turned towards Thundercloud, waiting to speak to the deputy, not wanting to sour the mood that had just been lifted by food.
Once he was assured they was set with food, he turned towards Mapleheart.
The cat spoke quietly and quickly to not cause any sort of commotion. We are without thyme and borage. We need it for fevers and for shock. Do you think I could go and... He hesitated for a second.
The idea of Mapleheart leaving the den unguarded put a heavy feeling in the Tom's chest. However, he understood the importance of gathering herbs. I worry about you not making it back. His eyes followed Snowpaw, the heavy feeling slightly lightening up as he watched her share the prey with Fawnstumble.
The medicine cat's ears flattened slightly at the pushback. He understood it, but he felt cooped up, boxed in. What little freedom he once had, this plague had taken away.
Sighing heavy, he nodded. Be safe and be swift, he advised.
Mapleheart turned to look over the camp for but a moment. I will do my best. I will not stray far. He offered a small smile and a light headbutt to the deputy's shoulder before moving.
I want to hunt at Sunning Rocks. Fish will do us good. It was an odd choice of prey, but he stood by his decision.
She shifted her paws in the grass, feeling the slight breeze. Alright.
Mapleheart? Deerstalker squinted. Herbs running well?
There was a small jolt in Mapleheart's body as he turned, looking at the THUNDERCLAN cat. Deerstalker, you're well! He spoke, enthused.
Her nose twitched. Man, a medcat out here? What are you even doing so close to here?
Of course. Did you expect different? His hackles rose, unintentionally hostile. We came to hunt.
Mapleheart let out a small sigh, betraying his tiredness, before a soft smile drew on his face. I'm looking for borage, of course. It's important for fevers.
He checked Deerstalker's demeanor. She changed her approach. And your land doesn't have enough of that stuff already?
And expecting queens, he mumbled. His clan liked a medicine cat, and yet one was standing right in front of him. Run along now. His whiskers twitched. You may have the right to our land, but we want to hunt here now.
A small break in his friendly enthusiasm was visible, and he tepidly spoke, almost hopefully. Is Rippleleaf doing well? I haven't seen her. A clear worry snuck through his tone.
I thought you would have noticed from her lack of appearance at the Half Moon gatherings. His pupils narrowed. She caught Deathfever. Setting Star fled when she died. She caught it too.
Mapleheart's expression fully dropped. He opened his maw to speak, but words didn't escape. I haven't been able to attend Half Moon meetings. Leaving for so long would spell doom. His ears flicked and he lowered for a moment, starting to step back. I will gather quickly and be out of your fur. I'm Sorry for your losses. He quickly absconded.
Good call, Deerstar. Now let's... She suddenly cleared her throat. Sorry, fly got in my throat. She came up with something on the spot. Even a cough during these times was not ideal. Sick or not.
Deerstalker's eyes flicked to Orca as she coughed. He brushed it off, not willing to entertain the idea that he was with an ill cat. My appetite has been ruined by the smell of RIVERCLAN. We should go back to camp.
Right. Smelly fish breaths. Indeed. The others would be worried.
He blinked as Bugskip managed to walk away at the exact moment he tried to talk to them. He looked up, spotting Darkfrost next to the spot Bugskip had settled. He patted up. When you order patrols, he spoke sternly, make sure we only hunt fish. They're the only prey that can't spread Deathfever. If that means going into RIVERCLAN land, so be it.
Bugskip nodded, understanding. THUNDERCLAN shall not fall. Not under our paws. Bugskip looked out over the camp. It was so empty.
He caught her gaze, blinking with sympathy. Don't dwell too much. It's late into the night. A bad time for thinking. Good night, Bugskip.
Ah, Wireflight. Did we wake you? Of course I am!
Sure, that's perfectly fine, Orca.
She perked up her ears, turning to Orcastride. No, it's fine. She laughed.
What's going on? He squinted at the arguing cats.
I'm just worried for her being here. The nursery is perfectly fine. I'm just worried for...
Bugskip lashed her tail. You shouldn't be putting the idea of sickness still lingering around. All those cats left to make sure it was safe for us.
This cat is bugging us about if cats are sick or not. It's unreasonable.
Then frowned at Orca's words, getting to her paws. Maybe you're right, she murmured. I'll spend the night in the nursery. The queen looked worried, lashing her tail.
Wireflight, he turned. His tail flicked. I don't want you upset, but they might be right just for now. He glanced to Orcastride, who had coughed earlier. It's the best for you and the kits.
Her tail stopped lashing, and she stared at her paws. All right. I'll see you all in the morning, then, Wireflight mumbled.
Bugskip sighed, looking back to the others after the queen departed. We don't need to be making each other so nervous like this.
She just looked to the ground, not saying a word. She didn't want the mention of what happened on the patrol to be brought to the others. Best to be quiet and let her mess, well, do what it does.
If a cat is sick, it will become evident. There's no need to pry into each other's health.
How about you, Orca? Go to bed.
Flarespeckle crawled out of their nest, heading closer to the cats. Next time you all have a discussion like this, can you do it more politely? Sometimes I try and get rest in times like these.
Fine. Her eyes glanced to Deerstalker, his brown eyes, before padding to the furthest nest from them all, laying without a word.
They grumbled something inaudible before walking back to their nest.
Deerstalker turned, not wanting to sleep in that den anymore. He hopped up next to Darkfrost, cleaning his own pill. Darkfrost heard the cat jump up next to him. He looked up and squinted. What, don't want to share the silence? He teased. He said nothing and shrugged. He favored Deerstalker more than the other cats, so he didn't care.
Mapleheart finally approached the den again, shaking off the encounter he had just gone through. He held the time in his maw, a sigh ringing through his body.
Whipping around, a feeling of warmth spread in his chest. Mapleheart, he purred, his tail flicking from glad excitement. I'm glad you're okay. The feline hops off the stump when they spot Snowpaw resting. Considering Thundercloud's attention had turned to Mapleheart, he had no reason to be up there in this late.
The medicine cat jolted at the sudden turn, nearly dropping the important herbs. His fur quickly flattened again, and his ears returned to attention. I had an encounter with cats. Not sick, mind you, but THUNDERCLAN. He glanced towards the direction of the clan's territory. I have many things to say.
His ears pinned slightly at that mention. THUNDERCLAN, he echoed. What happened?
He turned quickly, busying himself with organizing the time while he spoke. Their leader, the medicine cat, he shook his head. Deathfever claimed them. They seemed on edge.
He watched as the cat placed the herbs and listened to him speaking. That's unfortunate news. We are in a similar position, he mumbled.
Mapleheart flicked his tail, his eyes boring holes into the herbs at his paws. But they are without a medicine cat. He spoke, harrowed.
What are you implying? He asked, knowing it wasn't anything bad, but noticing the undertone in Mapleheart's voice.
The cat's empathy bled through as his claws idly dug at the dirt, his eyes glancing away. What if they need help? They were out hunting, THUNDERCLAUD. What if we could? He paused again, silent.
Tensing, THUNDERCLAUD shook his head. We have enough on our paws to be worrying about a different clan, he said, though he shared some of the same worries as the medicine cat.
The medicine cat's tail flicked THUNDERCLAUD's side, as if to offer a small bit of companionship. We're having troubles hunting, THUNDERCLAUD. We can barely handle sending one warrior out.
He slowly nodded. You are correct. He sighed, thinking about Fawnstumble and how he had given that name to them without even having received his own leader name.
Mapleheart gently leaned over, humming quickly. They seem to be their old grouchy selves as well. So their hunters are at least healthy. Perhaps we could come to an agreement, he whispered.
Another day, another successful catch. He padded over to the young ones and Wallflower. His buddies shrunk under their intense gaze. Here. It's something to consider, he agreed. Maybe we can trade herbs for prey, he mumbled, already plotting to himself.
Let all cats old enough to catch prey gather for patrols, Bugskip yowled, the words falling from their muzzle, fresh and new.
Deer gave Darkfrost a nod before padding over, intent on taking part in a patrol.
Bugskip felt odd, but also powerful on the edge of the high rock. They remembered the conversation last night with Deerstalker and put that knowledge forward. She nodded to him. But today, our patrol shall be slightly different under the guidance from Deerstalker. We shall be fishing. Bugskip mewed.
Wait. Fishing?
Flarespeckle's head tilted. Most of us have never fished before. What if we can't catch anything?
Bugskip flattened their ears. The forest prey could be infected as well. We need to do something different. THUNDERCLAN always finds a way to survive. They stood up proudly.
He looked up at Orca, who was standing at the edge of camp, away from all of the others.
She blinked at Bugskip, then to Deerstalker. Fish? We weren't RIVERCLAN. However, she spoke up. It'd be the best way to keep ourselves safe.
Finally, a voice of reason, he hummed.
Just give it a try. We shall stick together in hardship. Bugskip was glad at least some other cat was open-minded.
I'll take Saturn, Flarespeckle, and Wireflight, he stood, taking a lead for a moment to break up the protesting. He took in a deep breath as he approached the hunting ground he wanted to hunt in yesterday. Do your best to fish. He looked across the river, his tail flicking. You know, his voice trailed. Looking towards the group, he finally spoke up. I actually know how to fish.
He widened her eyes. That's great!
From? He murmured before remembering Saturn was Lunarborn. Ah, show us, then?
Thanks, DarkClan, we're not entirely clueless. Flarespeckle breathed with relief.
A learner with many skills, I suppose. He shrugged it off before giving a faint nod and turning. I suppose it'd be best for you three to do what I like to call surface fishing. He looked down at the water. He shuffled away from Deerstalker a bit. If you look carefully, you'll be able to see tiny fish. At first it's not much, but trust me, they're delicious. That's all? Tiny fish? His brows furrowed.
Flarespeckle leaned its head over. I can't see anything, it frowned, sad at the prospect of not even getting to see the tiny fish.
She peered down into the water. At first, all she could see was her reflection. But then, as she looked deeper, she spotted tiny shadows moving below the surface. Saturn's right! Look!
Saturn looked at the water. He sighed in relief at Wireflight's words. Thank goodness it's not just me this time, he thought before adjusting himself. The rain will always make it harder for newbies. Deerstalker flinched as the rain battered his coat, irritating him further. If tiny minnows is all we get on this side, we should hunt on RIVERCLAN side of the stream. Surely they get the larger fish.
What if RIVERCLAN catches us? Flarespeckle meowed, worry pricking at their pelt.
He stood up. The larger fish is more easily found within the lake. He paused. But you're in charge. I'll do as you say.
Wireflight stayed silent, though looked incredibly displeased with the prospect of trespassing.
The most I've seen from RIVERCLAN is scrawny apprentices, and if they don't catch us, the rain will wash away our scent. Wireflight and Saturn, stay on this side and see if you can catch the minnows. Flarespeckle, come with me.
Flarespeckle nodded silently. Flarespeckle was careful with their jumps, trying not to slip on their single hind leg.
This is a much better angle, closer to the water's edge, too. There we go.
Flarespeckle watched Deerstalker's movements, seeing if they could learn before jumping straight into it.
Yes, he chirped. Finally, he found a way to feed his clan and mate without risking Deathfever. Yippee. He shook out his fur as the rain ceased. Perfect. Good job, Flarespeckle.
Flarespeckle beamed with pride.
Look! A smile was spread across his maw that carried the fish. His ears pinned as he sat down. I'm sorry, that was... He turned in surprise by the two.
She got to her paws, purring. A fish! She chirped, her argument with Saturn forgotten for now.
Flarespeckle didn't say anything, but the dumb smile on their face gave away how proud they were of a single catch.
Let's get back to camp now. Wireflight, you can have my catch. Saturn stayed quiet. He looked down at his paws. Good idea, he then muttered. Orcastride? He spotted the she looming over the empty pile.
She breathed heavily, as her body was shaking slightly. She just glanced over with a worried look.
He saw the daze in the cat's eyes. His fur instantly shot up. Orca. He stepped back as if he was looking at a dog.
I'm fine. It's fine. Behind her, a small pile of blood. She just coughed up. I'm okay. It's fine. I'm okay. It's fine.
You need to leave. He raised his head, trying to stay composed.
What about my brother? The clan! Her voice raised.
He stepped back, hissing. Stay back! He raised an unsheathed claw, horrified at the idea of striking her.
I can't! Please, I'm fine. It's not... Shook at the yell.
Wait, what's going on?
Her eyes lingered to Frost.
What's going on? She ran over. Wireflight then saw Orca, and the situation dawned on her. You're...
He stepped between the two, knowing that Orca would try to run to Frostnight. Leave now! You're infected!
I'll die out there. Please, dear. Her final plea. But it was clear. No one will listen.
May StarClan help you, he cursed silently.
I'm sorry. She shook as she walked off, stumbling over her own paws.
He pinned his ears in sadness. There was nothing the clan could do. He walked away back to the Elder's Den trunk. He struggled to speak.
This can't be happening.
I'm sorry. He looked over at Frostnight with eyes that begged forgiveness.
He ran to the warrior's den in disbelief.
He sat where he stood, closing his eyes for a moment to process.
She stared at Deerstalker. No matter how cruel, she knew it needed to be done. Wireflight pattered over to her mate, gently nuzzling him.
I never want to do that again, he croaked. He didn't even know how Orca caught it. What if it was from another clanmate?
We can only pray that no more cats get sick, the queen whispered. Other than that, she trailed off.
He took a deep breath, wiping his face with a clumsy paw to soothe himself. Right. Sitting here pouting won't prevent anything.
She looked up at Deerstalker, her tone as warm as she could muster. Remember, you're allowed to grieve. It was the sickness that drove them out, not you.
He nodded, forcing himself to stand. I'll get some sleep, he said, oddly, padding over to the tall rock. Deer lay down next to the tall rock, resting his head.
He walked towards Deerstalker, ready to say something that could change his life. Hey, Deerstalker, I think I need to leave the clan for a little bit.
A little bit? He sat up groggily.
Yeah, I just need to go and do something. His tone got louder.
If you leave, we can't verify you don't get sick. You won't be protected anymore.
That's fine. I'll take the risk.
You're not understanding, he stood, clearing his throat. You can't leave. You could contract something and bring it back to us.
I have to. It's not like I am ever coming back, he said as he quickly shut his mouth.
He stared coldly. I wasn't going to let you. He was angry, not at the situation, but the fact Frostnight was forcing him to do this. You're infected, aren't you? Orca gave you Deathfever. That's why you want to leave, without telling us. It's clouding your judgment.
What? No, I'm not infected.
Get out of here, he snapped.
He ran.
He sighed. Bugskip. He breathed weakly.
Bugskip cantered up to the deputy, looking shocked. Are they... She trailed off, thinking the worst.
He insisted he had to leave. Probably to follow Orcastride. I don't know. I think he was sick and couldn't admit it.
Anger made the warrior's ears flatten. What a coward, she muttered. A coward for turning their back when we needed them the most, she hissed in anger.
I know, he winced.
We need every warrior who isn't sick. We can't keep losing everyone. Bugskip sat, defeated.
If we had a medicine cat, they would have been fine. It was early enough. He sank his claws into the ground. Deathfever had doomed them by taking Ripple Leaf. I need to talk to RIVERCLAN.
What are we gonna do? What are you going to do there? THUNDERCLAN won't... It can't fail like this. Bugskip mewed, looking for guidance in the deputy.
I'll find a way. If I don't, I'll die trying. I promise you that. He padded past Bugskip in a blind rage, making his way to the camp exit. Deerstalker nearly tripped over the cat's body as he tried to run along the river. He stumbled, catching himself. He concealed a gag. Orcastride didn't make it very far. He shook his head and kept going.
This was where the leader of RIVERCLAN spoke to the clan whenever anything important happened, he said. Fawnstumble listened. He had heard one of THUNDERCLAD's stories before, and Fawn thought he had a real knack for it. He nodded, curious to hear more. Could you imagine? So many cats filling the clearing that the leader had to speak from a rock to be heard by all. His gaze swept across the empty clearing, his memory filling out the blank spaces with his former clanmates. He felt kind of solemn for a moment. Fawnstumble pictured it in his mind, this clearing overflowing with cats just like him, but now it was barren and empty. That image seemed like something out of an elder's tale nowadays. Snowpaw was slightly distracted by her own mind, pawing at the rock as she turned to Thundercloud, hoping to clear her mind.
Mapleheart looked utterly thrashed. That is, his front half was completely soaked, and he looked frustrated. A fish hung from his snout as he slowly made his way to the medicine den.
It was beautiful, he said, looking a bit surprised that Mapleheart passed by them. We had ceremonies. Every full moon we would go and meet with the other clans to share stories and announce new apprentices and warriors. Chromapaw looked down at the vacant clearing, filled with cats. That was a thing once. Perhaps that's what Thundercloud had hinted during the conversation yesterday. His hackles rose suddenly as the ThunderClan cat barged into camp. Thundercloud instinctively stepped in front of his clanmates. You bring the smell of death, he hissed, his claws unsheathing and teeth bared. Get back! Chromapaw's eyes widened at the rushing scent of ThunderClan and something else.
It isn't me. We had to exile a cat who had death fever. I found her body on the way here.
Not convinced, his eyes remained ice cold. What is it you want? He snarled, every muscle in his body tensed. Fawnstumble was so utterly confused. He hadn't seen another cat in moons, and now they were sputtering about some randomness. Maybe they'd take the smaller ones and not him.
He lowered his head in a plea. My mate, she's expecting kits, and our clan is struggling to stay well. We don't have a medicine cat, so when our cats fall ill, we have no choice but to exile them.
At the mention of kits, his gaze softened. Expecting kits? He mouthed, almost silently. He couldn't help but feel sympathy, knowing he had 2 kits in his own care. So badly they wished to hiss. How dare they bring in their sickness here, to infect the only 2 they managed to keep safe. Eyes locked on every muscle movement, claws weren't needed, teeth worked fine.
Mapleheart slowly approached, half-wet paws thudding heavily as he approached, listening to the plea with a stare. His honor and empathy wouldn't allow him to stay silent.
Mapleheart.
He glanced up towards Thundercloud, then back at Wallflower, before he spoke slowly. We may be in the direst of times, but we are still clan cats. Kits are to be cared for, regardless of clan.
What about our warriors? He croaked.
We can help each other, he said, nodding. We have barely any cats that can hunt. If you bring us food, we can take care of your queen and her kits once they're born.
You want us to hunt for you? He asked, confused. And you'll keep Wireflight here, away from me?
Maybe
Yep.
It would be wise for you and maybe another warrior to stay here. I'm sure she would be uncomfortable staying here by herself. He looked over at his clanmates. Given you will be respectful to my clanmates.
That would leave 3 cats in camp with no deputy and no guidance.
He thought for a moment before looking over at Mapleheart. Would it be wise to converge our clans for the time being? He wondered out loud, worried the issues it might bring. He was also surprised to hear that ThunderClan's numbers had thinned, just like theirs.
Mapleheart looked towards his deputy for a moment before speaking up. If we do this, I can heal your warriors and ensure that your mate and your kids are healthy too. If I'm provided with enough herbs, of course.
Thank you. He nearly broke down. He hated the idea of leaving his home, even if temporary, but he had no other choice.
Hopping down, he padded towards Deerstalker. It is a harsh time, and we may need to help each other to get through this. He dipped his head before the other deputy, before licking his shoulder in a comforting gesture.
He flinched a bit but didn't move. Contact during this time was scarce. Your clan seems much more stable than mine. His dark tone was laced in mild humor.
Bring your warriors here, he advised. We will be staying in separate dens to avoid fighting. We are still different clans after all. he purred softly.
Of course. I'll fetch them now before the sun falls.
Mapleheart slowly stepped up, tail gently flicking against Thundercloud, a deeply proud look on his face in the bravery of his deputy. Pick any herbs you find on the way, please.
I'll have each warrior carry an herb.
He bowed his head softly, purring a bit as he sat, clearly not afraid to be close to his clan cats.
He dipped his head in return and left. I've spoken with RIVERCLAN. We are to leave and stay with them. They have a medicine cat, and we cannot risk losing any more warriors. I know some of you will hate this and may even fight me, but we have to do this for all of us.
What? Bugskip yowled, outrage. We are THUNDERCLAN! THUNDERCLAN through and through! We can't just abandon our camp! Our clan! What would that mean for all the cats who lost their lives here?
When I went to speak with RIVERCLAN, I found Orca's body. Do you realize how bad this is getting? What happens when no cat is left? Do you think the cats we lost will be happy then? Wireflight is due to have her kits soon. They cannot be kitted into a clan with no medicine cat. What if they fall ill? Our clan would have no chance of growing.
Bugskip shut their mouth. Rage clear on her face, but she stood shivering in emotion. They flicked their head down, not looking at the deputy.
He's right. We'll all be safer there. I want my kids to be able to grow up to become warriors instead of dying to a sickness that now we can prevent. She spoke up.
He nodded. Right. He wanted to be there by sunfall, but now the moon had risen. We will leave at dawn. Cherish your nests for tonight.
She moved back to the nursery, waddling along.
Is it okay if I sleep in here with you? His whiskers twitched. I don't feel right sleeping in Setting Star's den, and I don't want to be too close to the others.
She settled down, looking towards Deerstalker. Wireflight looked more calm than usual, settling down and tapping the empty spot beside her. Of course, it's been lonely in here, she laughed.
He rested his head, finally relaxing with the rise and fall of Wireflight's side next to him. He stirred when the warmth of dawn entered his den. He looked to Wireflight, licking the top of her head to wake her.
She shifted as she woke, not wanting to get up just yet. Although, as her head cleared of sleep, she remembered that they'd have to stop moving soon.
Take your time, he urged, leaving the den. THUNDERCLAN, he called.
I hope you're right about this. Bugskip mewed, still unsure of the idea.
Each warrior is expected to gather an herb to bring to RIVERCLAN as thanks for their kindness. Wireflight will come with me, and we should all meet at Sunning Rocks. We can go now.
Flarespeckle left with confidence, perhaps a bit too much. They almost slid on the first rock.
Well, at least we are together, Bugskip smiled, softening slightly before crossing the stones.
She scuffled down the side and leapt off onto the first stone. She wasn't as agile as she usually was and stumbled, though landed firmly.
His ear flicked at the approaching cats. Deerstalker, he greeted, his head dipping, his pelt prickled with anxiety.
Mapleheart stared outwardly towards the cats. 5 cats! That's twice as many as they had already. He lifted himself in the most presentable and friendly sit he could manage.
THUNDERCLAUD. He tucked his paws under his tail awkwardly. We all have an herb each.
I hope you excuse the state of our camp. You and your warriors can stay in the warrior's den, he explained, motioning for the cats to follow him. He nodded respectfully towards the Queen. I will show you the way to the nursery, he offered.
She blinked at him, smiling. Thank you, all of you, she mewed, following the deputy through the camp. She strayed a glance once more at her mate before disappearing.
We should put the herbs in your stock.
Mapleheart nodded, purring. I will show you to the medicine den, he said as he stepped along.
I'm sure a lot of us would like to rest without the worry of becoming ill.
His tail lightly flicked to be up against Wallflower. It's okay, they're bringing us herbs. He turned to Deerstalker. The warrior's den is clean. Wallflower makes sure of it.
Thank you. He dipped his head, dismissing himself and flicking his tail for the warriors to follow. Deerstalker set up as Thundercloud approached.
Greetings, he realized he didn't know their names. I would be very grateful if you could go out and hunt for the clans. He flicked his tail nervously.
Of course, he dipped his head. My clan has rested enough. Come along, he spoke, looking back at his tiny clan. Hunt as well as you can. Nice! His ears perked.
Flarespeckle smiled. Second time around wasn't nearly as exciting, but it was still invigorating, the sense that they could rebuild.
He let out a purr, patting past Flarespeckle to inspect the other clan members as prey. Looks like most of us managed to catch something.
Bugskip perked up. For THUNDERCLAN? Bugskip mewed, hoping for assurance.
For all of us. He hopped back into camp. He purred at the sight of fish in the pile. He looked up at the odd apprentice. He was then distracted by an odd scent. Wireflight.
He paused and moved out of Deerstalker's way, purring loudly. She's healthy, and your two kits are too.
She didn't look up, smiling softly at the two kits nestled beside her. Aren't they perfect? Wireflight purred.
As are you. He patted in next to the three. What are you naming them?
She nuzzled the kit who looked similar to her. I want to name him Gorskit, after my mother. And the other... She turned to Deerstalker. You should name them.
He thought for a moment, though it didn't take long. Rising Kit, after setting star, and to symbolize a new start for THUNDERCLAN. They will both make us strong again. He stood, stepping over them and laying next to Wireflight. He lay his head down with a purr, easily falling asleep.